Is Tuesday, April 4th, 2023. Donald Trump, yes, President Trump, he's facing 1 trillion charges of felonies galore in New York. Yes, it's happening. The US dollar, it's what, tanking? Is this the shiny object to distract us from the crash that's on its way? And I don't know, has Bud Light ever tasted so interesting? We're going to talk about all the good stories today. My name's Brian Engelman. We almost got it. Blake froze. He was saying he's Blake Walley, and then you were going to say
Stephanie Jackson.
And I'm going to say this is the Agree to Disagree show on the New American Media. Ancient proverb that says, may you live in interesting times. Yes, we are living in interesting times, indeed, unprecedented times. Thank you for joining us on the New American Media, because the old American media has failed you. Yes, independent journalism is the only journalism. All the other stuff is crap. No, crap. I don't, like, before we even get into the show, I think one of the most important things that President Donald Trump has brought to the national landscape, the conversation, just the entire zeitgeist of this planet, really, in my opinion, has been lifting the veil off, pulling the Scooby-Doo mask off of the legacy media, the lying legacy media, the propaganda artists that have really kind of been swaying public opinion for, maybe for time immemorial. But I feel like in the past decade or so, we've really started to learn that we're just being fed lies. The classic quote, if you don't watch the news, you're uninformed. If you do watch the news, you're misinformed. Any thoughts on that one before we get started, Blake? And welcome, by the way.
Yeah, certainly. These are the most interesting times probably ever in human history. Now that we're on a global level now, can interact with everybody. And yeah, it's all going against Trump right now, their big political opposition. And you're seeing a splitting of the country right now, building towards one of a couple of different futures, depending on the kind of leadership that we have. And there's certainly a problem with the media. So that's just why we're here, to give our own perspective on the day's events.
Absolutely. You can follow Blake on Twitter. He's at, I almost said eccentric 99. Are you still there? Why don't you try to get that reinstated? Or did you dump the account?
No, I just changed it. Okay. Anybody could probably go pick it up if they want. I had trouble spelling it and what have you, so it was just an old brand with my old blog.
Well, he's at eccentric 99, but he's at TV's Blake Walley on Twitter.
Yeah, you find it's no longer there.
Yeah, so TV's Blake Walley on Twitter, and what is it? thenextlevelnews.com?
Correct.
Perfect. Go check out Blake. Blake will take this this broadcast and he will chop it into bite-sized, manageable parts along the way. Stephanie, welcome to the show. You can follow Stephanie. It's STEPHANIEEEE7. J. Why did I say 7? I was thinking there's 7 E's. Yes. Stephanie with 5 E's and a J. There we go. Stephanie, what say you? I think that kind of what I was tossing to Blake there in the opening was just really the importance of, thinking back 12 years ago when the New American Media started, because we just determined everything to be propaganda and we had to decipher the reality of this world, since nobody was doing it for us. They were all lying. I don't know. Just you're kind of new to the universe, not to the world of deep thought, critical thought, but like maybe this particular podcasting, current events, daily news, politics, if you will. What's your general take on Trump's impact on fake news and propaganda and alternative media in general?
I would just say, like, man, right now we're just seeing a masterclass how to get like $1 billion in free marketing, and that's how he won that one. I mean, that's how he won the presidency. And looks like, I mean, who knows? Right now he's at the Manhattan court there early, and we'll see what happens. But I think it's just so interesting just how like news has evolved. Like we got people like Alex Jones sued for billions of dollars, and you guys are still going. So seems like, who knows? You guys might be here for a very long time.
There might be a little bit of market share to pick up. Blake, you want to pick up some of the crumbled, some of the crumbs of those billions of dollars of advertising revenue that's just sitting out there. We just got to push the, what was it called? Tangy Tangerine. We got to make sure you were drinking colloidal silver. And we're getting My Patriot Supply. Like we could run those ads. We want you to be prepared and healthy. Like it's easy to do, right? We could do that.
Yeah, better them. Yes, good Patriot sponsors, not Big Pharma. So it's going to change the message.
Brought to you by Pfizer. Pfizer. All right, well, let's jump into the program, folks. Thanks for participation today. Let's go into story number 1. All right, Blake, question the first. Do you agree or disagree that the Donald Trump charges are justified and they will stand? Stephanie and Blake, starting with you, Blake. The Donald Trump charges are justified and they will stand. Agree or disagree?
Disagree strongly, emphatically. It's 34 charges, all felonies apparently, but I think they're going to try to dismiss this thing right away, and it's really unclear how.
It's really unclear. It's the pause. It's the delay. Try to finish his sentence, Stephanie. It's really unclear.
It's really unclear what the charges are.
Yes, there's 30 something of them, and they're trying to hide that and trying to impose gag orders, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I was just listening to Ben Shapiro, and he was saying that, it's like the Democrats, they're trying to fulfill this promise saying he's a criminal, and this is their only way to stop him. And they're, it's just desperation from them. Yeah.
It's when the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. What's the famous quote? Show me the man and I'll show you the crime.
Yes.
This is definitely something that they've been aiming at for a while. Blake, we kind of lost you at the beginning of your commentary, but if you'd like to reboot that, take it from the top. We did like a reverse Mad Libs right there, where it's like instead of trying to put a verb or an adjective or a pronoun.
We were trying to finish your sentence using being psychic.
Telepathy. There you go.
It reminds me that there was a commercial. I forget what it was for, and he goes, well, something that bothers me about you. What's that? Well, you're always finishing other people's sandwiches. I can't believe you told that about me. So finishing other people's sentences, sandwiches, and she got it wrong. Anyway, I digress. So we finished your sentence. Back to your sandwich, Blake. What were you going to unpack for us there?
Well, since I'm in New York, figured I'd get some, great place for a sandwich, but that's not necessarily what we were talking about, Brian. I really hate that camera angle and the way that scroll right across my face. I might as well, hey, what's going? Okay, there you go.
I was trying to feature you. I was trying to slide by the side.
No, that never works. That is the worst camera angle. If these background videos are distracting, we can just go to a blank screen. If you
no. How about this? This could be
the
one.
That's better. Okay,
that's
cool.
Way better. That's what I'm looking to feature you. I'm not trying to limit you. I'm trying to feature you and give you the main stage is what we're going for. So, all right, the Donald Trump charges are justified and they will stand. You disagreed.
Disagree. Yes, very strongly. 34 felonies. I mean, it's outrageous. It's really unclear like how much he had to do with any of this stuff. The guy's got all kinds of businesses. He was president, maybe still is president. And how much did he really have to do with like the general accounting for things that were going on with his, every aspect of his business and what his lawyers are up to? That's why he hires accountants and has lawyers. You think he does his own taxes? No. So they're going to try to stick him with this, and it's not going to go anywhere. So he's already pled not guilty, and he's gonna make a speech tonight. I'm not quite sure if he's on a gag order or not. He's not going to be arrested. I don't think he was. As far as I know, he wasn't, handcuffed. And I don't know if they did a mugshot or any of that stuff. They'll try to waive it, and they've got a tough legal battle to try to make it sound like he really was involved and did something that was actually a felony, and whether he's going to serve any time or not. So it's just all a big publicity stunt. It's a big show trial in New York. They got what they wanted, but maybe not everything. And I doubt they're going to actually have him put behind bars. So it's just, it's a huge waste of time and probably a ton of taxpayer resources as well. So no, not justified. I don't think they will stand.
I was picking up on, I was kind of scrolling through. Oh, you hate that angle. Let's try this one. Yeah,
what do you think, Stephanie? Not even we'll get their opinion, and we'll get the audience.
That one. That's your favorite.
Matter. Everyone likes it. We'll run with it. Yeah.
Well, so I was listening yesterday, just kind of scrolling through the random landscape. I spun the wheel of alternative media, and I landed on Tim Pool this time. And, I feel like that would be an interesting way to just take in the news. Spin the wheel of alternative media and just get somebody's quick take on something. Just a couple of minutes, breaking it down, your quick take. Like, that'd be awesome. But in one of these, Tim Pool was kind of hypothesizing a scenario where Trump would be remanded into custody. Did you hear that one? There was a question of, is it possible that he could just be kidnapped and taken, separated from the Secret Service and dumped in to get Epstein? I was like, wow. I mean, I guess I hadn't really thought of that being a remote possibility, but I mean, nothing is off limits with these jokers. Stephanie, I don't know. Do you expect this whole thing to go smoothly, or do you think that this is going to have the potential to, I don't know, snowball into something much bigger? Kind of maybe not specifically what Tim was saying, getting remanded to custody and actually placed behind bars per se. But, you're hearing that they're trying to do the same thing in Washington, D.C. They're trying to do the same thing in Georgia. They're just trying to pile as much as they can on his plate to keep him out of the mix. How do you if you were prognosticating, what would you think this is going to play out like?
I would just say it's definitely going to create disruption, but he's never going to see prison time. Like, that's never going to happen. It's just going to be an investigation, and like Blake said, he's not doing his paperwork. He has like thousands of people probably doing all his accounting. I mean, he's been such a real estate mogul for forever. Trump has always been a big brand name, and if they could just prevent him from really going full force of going to run for the election, that would be the biggest win. I think that's what they're going for, is just the election, and anything else, whatever happens. But if they could just stop that, because why else start this now? They could have done this a long time ago. They could have done this 8 months ago. They could have done this 12 months ago. They could have done this right when Biden became president. But they're doing it now because they want to make sure he's spending all this time with the litigation in New York and not there spending time on running.
Yeah. This is pretty interesting, Blake. It's as far as the purpose of this all, trying to keep him from running, as Stephanie was saying there. I mean, what do you make of how this overlaps with federal funds being used and directly coming from Obama's White House, coming from his, well, let's call it the Barack Obama White House? This is the third term of Barack Obama. Biden is the meat puppet, just kind of marching along to the orders of his master, who bestowed upon him this position. That, what is it? It's like a turtle waking up on a fence post. Nobody knows how it got up there. No idea how it's going to get down. I don't know if you've ever seen that parable, but yeah, Biden is the turtle upside down on the fence post out in the field. But what's your take on this as far as how the federal implications coming down from the Biden Obama White House are really just like Stephanie was saying, just it feels like it's all just designed to take out the main political opponent. And that's something you do in banana republics, third world countries.
Yeah, that's what they're turning everything into. They're going to have to try to cheat the system. They're terrified. They know the poll numbers, and I'm still not 100% convinced of all of these swing states stopping counting. So you got 74 million votes at least, whether you like it or not, and he's still a threat. And they see that, and they're trying to eliminate that because this is also going to be turned on them. So if they can, somehow brand him as a felon and render him somehow ineligible from competing, that would be a huge win for them. But if he wins, it's over for them because it's going to be retaliation. And they did it to themselves. They started this. They set the precedent by going after their political opposition with these petty misdemeanors that they somehow fluffed into like the low-level felonies. So it sounds like a lot, but it's really nothing. But it won't stop them, but it just shows you how scared and vulnerable they really are. They don't want to see this in a fair fight. And they see all the MAGA people. They see how inspired they are and the giant groups that they form. So it's a threat to their entire way of life. And here we are in these quite unprecedented times. So now we'll see how this shakes up, but they made their big move. So now it's time for Trump to get on the offensive. And as you say, Brian, the Republicans to get on the offensive.
I beat that drum every day. I feel like I'm doing a tomahawk chop like an Atlanta Braves baseball game. I would every day. But yeah, I say it every day that the Republicans need to stop being distracted with the slurs and the allegations and the games and the pettiness. Like you're getting, there's a time to turn the other cheek. Yes, I guess we're going to start making those direct analogies here, but there's a time where there's one way to deal with a bully. And you have to stand up to them. You have to square up and confront the situation. Bullies are only emboldened if you give them a little cowardice, a flinch, a step backward, an embarrassment. I mean, they're looking for anything they can use against you. So yeah, Blake, I'm 100% in the camp of. This party, by the way, I was looking at Michael Steele's response. I don't have it pulled up in front of me, but, he was just, this guy used to run the RNC. The people in that party hate President Donald Trump. They can't stand him because he's not compromised in the same way that they are. He's not bought and sold and blackmailed the same way that these other people are. And it's obvious. I mean, it comes through every chance you get of listening to someone like Michael Steele. But yeah, the old guard, I mean, nobody's above the law. That's the refrain, just like how you heard that's misinformation or that's the most deadly insurrection. Like when you hear these buzzwords, they're full of shit. Whatever's about to come next, they're completely full of it. And what they're saying in their refrain now is that, well, nobody's above the law. Now, Blake, you kind of touched on something there that this is going to boomerang on them. I don't know if Stephanie, do you know where Blake is going with that? We're going to continue to play the game of guess what Blake's thinking.
Well, one thing I want to say is that because he wasn't sure what Trump was going to do after leaving court today, he was planning to take a flight to Mar-a-Lago, and he's going to do a speech on what happened in that courthouse because since no cameras are allowed to be in there. And actually it was actually on the Trump lawyers. They said they don't want no cameras in the courtroom because they don't want to make it look like a circus show.
I mean, it is a circus show.
It is, but it's
yeah. I take your point. Blake, what you were getting at there, and that is good information.
Yeah.
So what? There's not a gag order to speak of.
Yeah,
that hasn't.
They said this came directly from Trump's team. They said after they're done with the court stuff in New York, he's flying to Mar-a-Lago and he's going to do a speech there talking about what happened that day. Today.
Okay. Well, then there we have it. And then Blake, as far as the follow-up, I think I know where you're going with that question as well. I love that piece of information. Knowing that there's not a gag order, very important. But
yeah.
I think, Blake, you are insinuating that this will come back around to boomerang. This flying stick stunt has boomeranged on us, they said in The Simpsons. How can you unpack that a little bit? I think I know where you're going with that, but they've kind of opened the door to this now, right?
Yeah, if you can go after your political opponents with petty legal BS, yeah. I mean, it'd be different if he started it and went after Obama for some stupid thing years ago, some little paperwork snafu, or I don't know, maybe some little tryst with Reggie Love, or some really dumb thing. Yeah, that would be bad, and it would set a terrible precedent, and it would make Trump look like the bad guy. But now it's the Democrats that have decided to go for it. I mean, they did try to run their impeachment stuff and go after him for Russian collusion and what have you. They tried to find something with the tax returns. They wanted something. They wanted to get their guy, but this is the best that they can do. At all
costs. Anything. Yeah. Is this the best they can do? Thanks, Dr. Jekyll. We appreciate your, for the people watching on the podcast. Thanks in the comments for saying that. I bet Stormy got a gag order. Appreciate that. Always a moment of levity. Appreciated. Space Ace here in the comments says Republicans don't go on offense. They just yell and scream a lot. Yeah. You know what? They are good at showboating, like a Trey Gowdy. God, he was good, except at doing anything. Great at talking, but what the hell is talking? Talking doesn't do anything. Talking is just talk.
Yeah.
Being on offense, what you have is Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's down on the scene and kind of holding a rally of sorts out there. I want to send a shout out to Ford Fisher. Go check out News 2 Share. News, the number 2 Share. He's putting together some man on the street compilations. We got one yesterday, Blake and Stephanie. Did you have a chance to see that one yet? Any thoughts on what he's gathering from talking to the people outside of the Trump Center where the arraignment is occurring?
No, I haven't seen that. Can you please enlighten us?
Yes, I believe it's in the Telegram feed for the Agree to Disagree show. Blake, you saw that one, perhaps?
I've probably seen pieces of it, so yeah, it's interesting. Most of the Trump supporters are usually pretty grounded and sane, as much as the media tries to make them out to be, domestic extremists. They're really not. So it's one of those narratives they continue to push, and it's quite a circus there in New York City, I'm sure. So hopefully he'll be able to get some good content out there. And it looks like it wasn't a huge it wasn't like a lot of violence or any major catastrophes. So that's good that the security presence has been kept everybody calm. So
yeah, it looks very peaceful. Yeah, it looks very peaceful, and actually it looks a little bit fun, to be honest. It looks very electrifying because everybody's like, I think, more on the same page on everything, and you're seeing like a bunch of diversity of people like showing up in New York. Like I saw this video of this Chinese man, and he's like, "Trump's still my president. Fuck Joe Biden." And I'm like, it's I don't know. It looks like a party.
Definitely.
Yeah. It's a celebration of zaniness. It's may you live in interesting times. We sure do. What is this one here from Katie Cat? Essential Standing Rock movement. So the situation on the reservation is far better than Trump, than any of the Democrats currently in charge. Not political, but a staunch activist. Yeah, I mean, for just about every segment of this country, life was better under Trump. Blake, I saw you what was it that the Democrats lost the plot? Was that the title of that snippet that you broke out?
Yeah.
On the Next Level News. And, you know, I once again posed the question. I do that often on this program. Maybe it'll become a running gag, but name me one area of life that's better under Obama Biden right now in 2023. This is the third Obama term than it was under Trump. Like, what areas of life are better, from border security to inflation and geopolitics and sanity on the national level? We're still waiting for one valid answer. So please feel free to type that in the comments if you come up with anything. So, okay, well, let's pivot off of Trump. I mean, are there any final thoughts on this? He went inside. We don't really have much more information at this point, and we're going to wait till a few hours from now in Mar-a-Lago, and we'll go from there. Is that really kind of the gist of it?
Yeah, I mean, it's big news that there was no mugshot, there was no handcuffs, there was no arrest, and there is no gag order. He's pled not guilty, and he gets to give his side tonight in Mar-a-Lago. I think that's, about went as well as you could expect today from the MAGA perspective. So I don't know what they're going to plan on doing next, and then we'll see if they'll try to waive this thing. I don't know what else there is to say about that, but yeah, there's actually a video where Biden was saying, this is all about admitting the quiet part out loud, all but admitting coordinating to stop Trump from taking power again. So this is really what it is. They're hoping it'll stick. But this is something they talk about on Twitter and talk about amongst themselves. But in reality, they're going to have one hell of a hard time trying to get these charges to stick. Also thought it was funny that Karine Jean-Pierre, the press secretary, said Biden found out about Trump's indictment in news reports. Kind of like Obama, just found it out by watching TV like everybody else.
I have some breaking news right now.
Okay, yeah.
It looks like finally Trump just now has been arrested. He is now in custody right now.
No way.
Yeah, so it says, what I got on breaking news, it says, so when he arrived there, they arrested him. He's in handcuffs and in police custody as we speak. Just happened.
Okay, where did you see that one? I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just not.
Can you post the comment in the show notes in the comments section?
Yeah, let me see.
Or just in case, I'm not seeing anything on Twitter yet about something like that. So I don't know if that's confirmed.
So they're doing live updates. Not guilty on 34 felony counts.
Yep. So I think he's departed the Manhattan courthouse 10 minutes ago. I'm still looking.
We'll see. Well,
I think there's some rumors, but
yeah, continue, Blake. But it's it's.
He's temporarily placed in a holding cell between two other inmates. I'm told that Trump had a conversation. They will be dining together in Mar-a-Lago. I don't know. That's something that Jack Posobiec retweeted. And I'm also saying the Ninth Court of Appeals awarded Donald Trump $122,000 in attorney's fees from Stormy Daniels. So I don't know. We'll keep an eye on that, but I don't know if he's been arrested. As far as I know, he's still going to be on his way to Mar-a-Lago tonight. But if they do arrest, that would be incredible. I just saw Eric No, that was you, Brian. You just retweeted Eric Trump.
I did. I did just retweet Eric Trump. But yeah, like we'll just say we'll follow it as it goes and try to keep our eyes peeled on it. Yeah. And of course, put it in the chat if you find something good. Speaking of finding something good, this is a segue to nothing, but I had to show you this. It made me so excited. This was sent to me by somebody that knows you, Blake. And it was Stephanie. I don't know how else to say this, but like this is how Blake likes to party down. This is just a nice little segue. You're not going to understand it if you're watching on the listening on the podcast. Yeah, party down. That's right. About catering. I'll show you this. This is some actual footage. This is not CGI. This is Blake Walley dancing to the music. Music here. Here we go. Can you hear it? I can't hear the music.
I can hear it. here.
There's Blake in purple, raging at the rave. Blake letting loose. Come on, Blake. Does that look like you or what? Look at this, dude. Blake is just loving life. It's only Tuesday, bro. Happy Miami Music Week. Blake's like, yeah, man, it's the Dandy Warhols. It's the Dandy Warhols. Is that your band? Like, this looks like Blake, right? You guys see this? Just like if Blake had like a raging cousin. This is him. Like, we gotta turn this into a GIF somehow. We gotta like. Wow. I'd say we should superimpose Blake's face over it, but like it's already your face. He's making all your faces. It just gets funnier the more you live.
I gotta get a clean
like,
video.
We're talking about living your best life. Well, I put it out on at American_media_. I just put it out there and said, "Have a great day" or something. This guy is like, this is the energy we need to start every one of our shows on, Blake. So I'll expect nothing less than you raging, doing this thing like you're you have binoculars. Anyway, I just figured we all get a kick out of it. So, anyway.
Nice. All right.
We'll pause that.
Yeah.
Reality. Blake, your immediate thoughts on that?
I'm intrigued. My internet is lousy, so it just looks like a slideshow. You can't really see it very well, but I will take your word for it. I will look at it.
Pull it up on Twitter on your phone and look at it this close. You're like, oh my God. Because he makes like 7 of your faces, like in between them.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I got a double.
Yeah, I was able to see it perfectly. I probably saw what the audience saw on the sound, and then it does look like you, Blake. I mean,
Weird.
if I didn't know, yeah, it looks like you like having a blast with like Trump at Mar-a-Lago. You know, but we should have that type of excitement at the beginning of the show, not like 31 minutes in. Like have that as an intro and maybe edit Blake's face, or I don't know. It should be a party.
Maybe Blake, because we're doing a new intro. Maybe we could just show like a minute of you raging, like Blake Walley. I think it would work. I wasn't even watching
like that. Maybe a handful of times that I've ever been caught like that, but that was probably before cell phones were any good. That's like.
Would it have been a Dandy Warhols concert?
No, it would have been like spring break in Mexico. Gym, right? No, I can sit there in a concert with probably the same expression on my face the whole time. So I don't know. But who knows?
Yeah, please make sure you watch the video version of this.
That's funny.
Because I was on a different screen, but like listening to you laughing, Stephanie, was like it kept getting funnier and like the more we saw it, and that made me laugh more. So anyway, well, what is that? That's Dr. Jekyll saying that's Blake at a rave high out of his skull on MDMA. Yeah, that's pretty much what it looked like.
Fun.
All right, let's jump into the rest of the news.
Get distracted.
All right, so we're moving off of Trump Watch 2023, and this is something we've been covering as the banks have been failing, as the BRICS nations are mobilizing. Japan is pulling. They're going to stop buying U.S. oil, and now they're going to be buying from Russia. Like, Blake, start with you. I mean, just this U.S. dollar shift. Do you agree or disagree that this is going to be insignificant?
No, not at all. I'd say that the dollar is in a lot of trouble right now. And we're seeing this big push by BRICS nations to get out of it. And you're going to see a bunch of other countries start to follow suit. The days of the dollar dominance are numbered, and we've got all kinds of financial issues. Wow, Stephanie's got like a 70 typewriter for a keyboard.
Oh, sorry. I was just typing.
Clickety, 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 click.
I was actually typing to you guys.
I know.
Here, I'll put up.
Thank you. Yeah, we're working on getting Stephanie a microphone, a podcasting microphone, so that not every clickety clack will be radiated like through a megaphone, just like Blake with his clicker on his mouse.
I got a new mouse.
Every show we do, we learn new things. Yes, is that the red and blue one?
Yep.
Oh, that's like splitting the difference. You're like right in between Republican and Democrat.
Something like that. Yeah, they had a flash sale on Amazon, but it's a silent mouse. But you got to be careful because the buttons go all the way down. So you got to kind of hold it like a peg almost. But yeah, it's cool.
I don't know how silent it is. I mean, Brian was complaining about it the other day. So
no, that was my other mouse.
That was the other one. Oh, okay, you were just showing it. Oh, okay, never mind.
And I wasn't complaining. I was improving the show, right. Stephanie. I was producing the segment. That's the way.
I'm just trying to ignite a fight. That's all.
Yeah,
that rhymes. I feel like that's a song coming up. Stephanie, this is perhaps the most important story that's going on while we're being distracted with this Trump circus. Like you referred to, they didn't want cameras, so it wouldn't feel like a circus, but this is absolutely a circus by definition. I mean, how concerned do you think we should be about this BRICS US dollar shift? And, are we going to wake up and be in the middle of a Great Depression and the dollar is going to be worth half its purchasing power instantaneously? Do you see anything sharp and jarring happening, or just a slow, steady decline? Or, who knows, maybe we'll pull a rabbit out of our hat and save the day somehow, even though I don't see it.
Yeah. Well, it's happening right now as we speak. It's just a slow, steady decline, but it's just going to affect certain classes and certain people. It's the middle class and the rich, they'll just get richer. The rich get richer and the poor gets poorer, but it's right now just at a very slow decline. I would just say it's similar to something as like the housing crash, except like I don't think we're going to feel that big of a hit, but also we're going to have a new president here soon. So that's going to be a huge factor of like how everything goes. So I don't know, whoever's
What, you don't think the most popular president in American history, Joseph Q. Biden, I know it's not Q, Joseph R. Biden, Joseph A. Bank, you don't think the most popular president in American history could get reelected in this country? You think we'll have a new president?
No, yeah, absolutely. I would say I think I could even speak on the behalf of the liberals and the Democrats. I haven't heard not one person on that side where they're like, oh, I want Biden again. I think personally they're sick and tired of him as well. So it's going to be real interesting, like who's going to be their mate, and then also who's going to be our running mate. I mean, we'll see what happens, but I don't think nobody wants Biden back. I think everybody's just tired. I mean, you see all these like Democrat, liberal, like comedians coming out and they're making fun of like Joe Biden. They're like, man, my president, I want him to be like strong and energetic, not like falling all over. And that's another thing I hope for the next president. He can't be like super old. Like we need somebody like in their 60s, in their, or early 70s, we need somebody that has a lot of energy and a lot of pep in their step. We don't need somebody to be falling down every time they're on the bike.
Well, Trump is older, but he's got a lot of energy, and some people say he's got a lot of Sudafed. I don't know, whatever, take it for what it's worth. But he's almost everybody that knows him. The general comment that they come back with is like, I don't know anybody that works that hard, that many hours, that constantly, always researching, learning, investigating. Dr. Jekyll here is saying that this is their way to destroy the banking system and consolidate power with the central banks and Federal Reserve. Hey, what's not to like about that? I really think we need to be paying attention to this financial situation. I don't know enough to say, well, how do you hedge? Fine, maybe cryptocurrency, maybe gold and silver, maybe long-term storable food so you can eat your inflation away. I don't know. I don't know exactly how everybody could or should prepare, but I do kind of feel like we need to be more prepared than we are today. This is a general theme in my life and on the show, and for all the people listening. I'm not entirely positive what needs to happen next, but I mean, I'm taking steps regarding producing food. I'm taking steps about rainwater collection and purification, taking steps for energy, be it solar or generator or etc. Just trying to come up with a better plan than nothing. I don't know how drastic this economic shift could end up being, but I think it's worth paying attention to. As we're all distracted Trump Watch 2023. Dun, 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 dun. Hey, look, he's on a plane. It's like I heard it said that it was akin to a slow motion car chase with O.J. Simpson in 1993. Just watching the plane go over here, then he comes back, and it's like it's a bit of a show, but somehow Joe Biden and Barack Obama have turned China and Russia into allies, and they're convincing a lot of nations to abandon the U.S. dollar. And if you abandon the U.S. dollar, you could collapse the country. And that's exactly what George Soros, that's his game plan. That's why he backs people like Alvin and the Chipmunks brag in New York. He loves to destroy the Bank of England, Blake?
He shorted some.
He's got a laundry
made
list.
A big fortune doing that, or betting against the English stock market. Something to do with that. Yeah. Now he uses his money to radicalize for his own interests and undermine our country.
Huzzah.
Yeah.
Super excited. Yeah. What will next year bring with all the goodness he's brought us already? I just, some people, they're supervillains straight out of Central Casting. If this was a Star Wars episode, you could just put him and Klaus Schwab in the right types of robes, and it's like they are the perfect supervillains for this earth. But yeah, we live in interesting times. We are certainly here right now. All right, well, let's jump to the next story. Now we're going to get into some cultural stuff. There we go.
Yeah.
So speaking of dollars and making wise decisions, Blake, would you agree or disagree that Bud Light made the right marketing move with Dylan Mulvaney?
I must say they made what maybe could be the historically worst marketing move ever. I can't believe they would do something this short-sighted and stupid. And I say this as a Vegas bartender. I put a little mini thread on Twitter the other day talking about this. I was a bartender for 16 years, most of it in Vegas. And as far and away, the most popular two beers were Bud Light and Corona. So Bud Light is appealing to the everyman. It's working class, and it's enormous.
The every woe man.
Yeah, and it's worldwide too. So it's surprising to have a lot of British guys that come into Vegas, and there were a huge group of tourists drank Bud Light. So it was enormously popular, and this is such a ridiculous move. They have, what I was kind of saying, they have nothing. They have nothing to gain and everything to lose. So I don't know if they're trying to reach out, maybe trying to get some people that are the Dylan Mulvaney fans, or get the trans side of people into their marketing, or this kind of this woke ideology. But the problem is it's going to make their regular base not turn against it. And you already saw the Kid Rock video, which was pretty incredible, where he set up the.
Does somebody have the Kid
I
Rock
do
video?
actually. Let me see if I can.
Pull that one up here. By the way, while Blake does that, make sure that you are following our podcast, the Agree to Disagree Show. Get it where your favorite podcasts are created. YouTube.com/The New American Media. Follow our new Rumble account, The New American Media, on Rumble. On Telegram, we're TNAM Chat, TNAM for the New American Media, TNAM Chat, and the New American Media official account. We're on Signal, the New American Media, and TNAM Chat. Find us on all the places, essentially. Truth Social, haven't really got much traction there. We're on Patreon, if you want to toss a quarter into the wishing well. That's on Patreon/the New American Media. So, Blake, did you find that?
I sure do. So people thought this was an April Fool's joke for very good reason, that Dylan Mulvaney would get some kind of a brand ambassador deal with Bud Light. Let's see if we can hear this. Actually, I don't know if there's any volume. There's actually a longer clip. That's not the one I thought it was. But Kid Rock followed up with something a little more extreme.
Grandpa's feeling a little frisky today. Let me say something to all you and be as clear and concise as possible. Fuck Bud Light and fuck Anheuser-Busch. Have a terrific day.
I can tell you, Anheuser-Busch is probably rolling in his grave right now.
Augustus.
Yep. Yes, Augusta Bush. Yeah, it's a brilliant marketing because Bud Light is not good. I don't drink Bud Light, so I don't have to worry about boycotting it. I wouldn't boycott it just because of this marketing ploy. But so many other people, you're going to be in bars. People are going to give you shit for drinking Bud Light. I mean, this was just a really dumb idea. They've hit a gold mine. They've had genius marketing for, I don't know, 30 years at least that I've been following Bud Light. 40 years, Brian. I mean, Bud Light has always been the king of commercials. And so for selling a product that it really isn't good, but then people buy and it is enormously popular, why would you risk that with this marketing campaign? It's just
wasn't the joke by Mitch Hedberg? How familiar are you both with Mitch Hedberg, the comedian? Somewhat.
Yeah,
you are. None for you. Yeah, he has a joke something like, "Yeah, I like rice. Rice is great when you're hungry and you want to eat 1 million of something." All right, and then he's on to the next joke. A Bud Light is great when you're thirsty and you want to drink 1 million of something. You know, like it's something that you can. It goes down completely easy like water. Stephanie, this marketing campaign. I mean, you love fashion and style, and you pay attention to trends and current events. What's your take on this?
I would just say, like, it reminds me of what we did a show on this. I think, wasn't it like Coca-Cola, or it was some soda company, and they were doing the same exact thing. It was well, anyways, just one of them. I don't know. I would say, like, the person who probably came up with the idea was probably, you know, the same thing. Transgender was probably a fan of this person on TikTok. And, you know, it just shows you, like, if we get rid of TikTok as a nation, you know, people like this, they don't want to get rid of TikTok. They're making, you know, getting sponsors from Bud Light. Like, that's a huge thing in your career. So it's, yeah, I don't know.
And what a storied career it's been. He's what a storied career it's been.
Right.
Dylan Mulvaney was on Price is Right, and then this. That's awesome. What a career.
Yeah. So it's
so brave, stunning,
yeah.
brave.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, personally, I'm not a fan of Bud Light. I'm more of a Heineken type of girl. But I think these are just like temporary things, and then they're just gonna fade out. It's just like any type of trend, you know, it's just here for a little bit and then it goes away.
But when you've had a good thing going for decades, and they would risk something, like, what did they have to gain by
well, they probably don't feel like they're risking anything, because the people who are buying Bud Light, they're gonna keep buying Bud Light. Unless
I don't know if they are. No, that's where I'm.
They're really gonna stop from this?
Absolutely.
You think it's gonna impact them that hard?
Yes, it's the every man.
People are getting away from deodorant brands that are pushing transgenderism onto people. People are getting away from health and body, like shampoos and the lip gloss and any companies that are pushing this stuff. And I don't know if you were referencing earlier Woca-Cola. It used to be called Coca-Cola, and then they called it Woca-Cola, because they're pushing anti-white ideology through their corporate structure. But Blake, you definitely think that this could cause a massive purchasing shift in the country, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's think about every bar across the country, and people are going to be, you know, giving, you know, people shit for, you know, ordering by, like, hey, you know, it has that kind of effect on people. I can only imagine what's going on in Vegas, and people don't want to even be associating holding that bottle anymore. And once they switch, it might be really hard to get them back. So yeah, the Coca-Cola thing was, you know, one thing, and there's only, you know, basically Pepsi or Coke or RC if you're going to drink your cola. So people are eventually going to go back. They can survive, you know, a dumb marketing campaign. But this one, I think, could be catastrophic. Like I say, I think it's going to be the worst in history because it's been such an unbelievably huge product. Or maybe just like going against America. So it's not Anheuser-Busch anymore. It's not like out of St. Louis. Now I think it's in South Africa. I forget the company. It's a big, huge beverage company. They own all kinds of different stuff. So if they lose market share in Bud Light, they'll just put something else. Maybe it's kind of against America. It seems like we're getting our dollars getting hit. McDonald's got hurt the other day. Now Bud Light. It's like all the iconic American products are going to be. We're gonna go downgraded soon in front of the world, and it's not going to be good. But anyway.
AB InBev, Anheuser-Busch InBev, commonly known as AB InBev, let's see, is a Belgian multinational drink and brewing company based in Leuven, Belgium. AB InBev has a global functional management office in New York City, regional in São Paulo, London, St. Louis, Mexico City, Bremen, Johannesburg, and others. It was formed in 2008 through the acquisition of Budweiser brewer Anheuser-Busch by Belgian conglomerate InBev, which is itself a merger of Stella Artois, maker Interbrew, and Brazil's Ambev. So yeah, 2008. It's owned by the Belgians. You don't really get the Belgians shining in on a global scale for much these days. So I'm sure they're happy to be in the news. Dr. Jekyll is saying here in the comments, real men drinking Bud Light will absolutely start drinking Coors Light, the banquet beer. Yes, I could see the switch to Coors Light.
Banquet, yeah.
I drink a lot less beer these days, but now I feel like having some beer. But I know which one I'm not going to get. All right, next topic. Same sort of topic, but different angle, I think. All right, we will move from the food and beverage component of that story to the mental health component of this story. Blake, agree or disagree that pressuring for transitioning is positive for mental health? Do you agree or disagree that pressuring for transitioning is positive for mental health?
Maybe in the short term, they think, oh, okay, so if it's kind of on parents and teachers and getting their kids, and maybe they think that they're identified better as the other sex. They go for the surgery. And it seems great, and that they finally get to do, and they get to be the right person they want to be. But then maybe sometime later they realize, oh, maybe that wasn't such a good idea. It's not going to make the mental health issues go away. And now physically you're going to be not the same ever again. Depending on what gets done to you, you can't reverse that. So it's really sad. Now they say that I've heard statistics that say a lot of the people that have done the post-op end up being happier, but how much of that is kind of psychological because they don't want to admit that they made a mistake? Because that's when they really, this downward spiral begins, and it's depressing, and you feel bad. And not all these surgeries, go that smoothly. And now they're just never going to have the same sensations. They're not going to have the same functions. It's just physically and mentally, there's a lot more downside than upside. And it's scary to think, parents are trying to do the best for their children, or they hear this and certain things from doctors or teachers, and they go along with it. And then they realize that, it didn't make anything better. It actually made things worse.
Now, was there a particular story you had in mind that kind of brought up this subject in particular? Was this in reference to give it some connective tissue to a newsworthy story of the day? Because I believe this was linked to something you pulled up earlier.
I do. Let's see. I know I got a few things. So this is out of the Daily Wire. Parents reporting child's mental health deteriorated considerably after transitioning. A study, parents were often pressured to treat gender dysphoria, after which the parents reported worse mental health outcomes for their children. This is a Northwestern study analyzing survey data from 1,655 parents of youth and young adult children who identified as the opposite sex or non-binary. So stories from parents whose children struggled. Yeah, again, between 11 and 21, they found that gender dysphoria impacted girls much more than boys because they're more likely social transition, history of mental health issues. Let's see. Pre-existing mental health issues were common, and youths were, sorry, these things keep jumping around. With these issues are more likely than those without them to have socially and medically transitioned. According to the study, parents reported that they'd often felt pressured by clinicians to affirm their child's new gender and support their transition. But they're saying that the mental health deteriorated considerably afterwards. So, yes, girls were susceptible because they're more influenced by their social circles. So, and another one that I didn't mention, but I thought is similar in that on the same page, we got trans school teacher fantasizing on social media about fulfilling her lifelong quest of moving to Tennessee to secretly inject 11-year-olds with hormone blockers. So I think part of these, I think people that do some of these transitions or take these hormones or whatever, I think they realize afterwards that they had made some kind of a mistake. And I think it makes them feel better when other people are doing the same things. That sort of alleviates some of their issues with it. But then it's also, secretly injecting 11-year-olds with hormone blockers. This is some deranged teacher in Bemidji, actually, where I'm from, at the North Pole there in Minnesota, who's made a history of saying some weird things. And there's another one I wanted to mention too, since we're on the subject. It's a Wyoming Democrat lawmaker posting a video calling for politically motivated murders posts threatening on social media. Here's it is. It says protecting trans folks against fascists and bigots. So this is a Democratic lawmaker in Wyoming. We also had, I think it was a press secretary for Katie Hobbs there in Arizona. Maybe you would know something there, Stephanie, where she put out a meme with people with the guns going after the like the MAGA type people, saying that trans have to defend themselves. So that one stepped down. We'll see if this lady's probably going to get in some trouble. And then we got some of these other people that are unhinged and making crazy social media posts, trying to justify perhaps some challenging decisions that they've made in their life, but they might not be completely, mentally healthy anyway. So there's a few stories that kind of tie together, and it's a very challenging issue, but it's one of the things we're dealing with in our time today, and the radicalization of this and the normalization of changing one's sex doesn't seem normal, or maybe in very, very rare cases, but it's usually probably a regrettable decision at some point down the road. I'll leave it at there. If you guys want to sound off on the controversial story. Anyone?
Yeah,
Stephanie.
How I feel about this, I would have to disagree about pressuring transitioning. I feel like it should happen very organically. If they want to transition, that's on their own terms, because let's say, for example, I know this isn't a great example, but Angelina Jolie's kid, I feel like they kind of pressured her to be like, hey, a girl turned to a boy. And I don't think she really agreed with that, because now she went from a boy from being a girl, and just keep in mind with everybody, I'm so for people transitioning. I have transgender friends, I'm totally for it. We're just having an open, healthy conversation about this, because this is very, very important and needs to be talked about. Just as Blake and Brian always explains. But yeah, nobody should ever be pressured. I think it should happen on their own terms. But when you're having, let's say you're influencing their media, and you're seeing these people do it, change. You know, that's like, are those your thoughts, or are those thoughts that are being forced upon you? You know, it's whatever media or whatever you're reading or watching on TV or Twitter or on the internet, that's going to influence your opinion. Like, there's so many times during the show we're talking about, oh, what we saw on Scott Adams or on here or this or that. You know, it's influencing you in some shape or form. So all I gotta say is, I just hope we find some type of solution. And if you are what you are, be what you want to be. You know, let nobody stop you, but never feel pressured.
So your friends are there. I mean, I know some trans people and they're great, but I've never discussed it with them. I always just treat them as the gender that they want to be, but I've never actually sat down to say, hey, did you have the surgery, or do you feel better now, or do you regret it? Because how do you it'd be so hard to live with yourself if you realize you made a mistake? And I think they just have to constantly project to themselves that they're justified in the decision that they made, because they can't go down that road, because that would just be a pit of despair if you realize that you thought you made a mistake. But some are in pain, or they have no sensation, or they thought they would switch genders, but now they can't enjoy sex. They can't have it, you know, they don't have the same sensations. So why remove that if you don't absolutely have to?
That's something you bring up a great point, Blake. One thing definitely for sure I think needs to be more involved is like more information and more communication coming from doctors. Like, what, like, you know, what are the cons? Like, what are, I mean, it does a lot of things to you. And that's and another thing you said, like, since I'm friends with transgender, I never had this conversation with them. And I feel, to be honest, a little bit uncomfortable. I feel like it's something they should bring up. Like, they would talk about, like, my one friend, she amazing person, she was talking about her transition, and her mom and parents, family, they all support her, and it's just great. But it's not like that for everybody else. And, you know, not everybody could spend like $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 on the surgery. So a lot of them are not doing it, probably, I would imagine. But yeah, it's a lot. We just need to hear more from transgender people directly. You know, I think this is their conversation. So we're kind of more in their court. And we just need to hear from them more, and from doctors, I would say. But yeah, I never had that conversation at all.
Well, number one, about hearing from more doctors, I mean, if there's one thing we learned from COVID, it's that an open, robust conversation about medicine, you know, that's something that's easy to obtain in this country with no interference from Democratic politicians or the lying legacy media or little tech overlords or the teachers establishment of purple hairs. Getting accurate, fair, open medical conversation. I don't know. It used to be the hallmark, the calling card of what it meant to be an American, that you talk about all the things. I'll believe that if I can see it. Regarding hearing more from the transgender community, I couldn't possibly imagine hearing more from the transgender community for, you know, the amount of people in the percentages of our nation that would check that box. I can't go a single day without hearing this subject. I mean, on so many levels, what do I care? I guess where I care is when it starts getting into kids, when it's the grooming, when it's the confusion, when it's really trying to convert and win souls to your Lord and Savior, the transgender community. There are some people that really push for that. The sexualization of kids, and that take this places that are very uncomfortable. What anyone does when they're 18, that's there you go. You're an adult. You have the right to do it. You know, like you said, it's $30,000. I would imagine it could even be more than that. I've seen mangled pictures of arms with the skin stripped off of them. There's, I'm not in that situation. I wouldn't ever consider doing such a thing. But if someone wants to, and they're 18 and they're an adult and they've had they can make their own decisions, and they want to pay for it, because this isn't something any of us need to be paying for. Talk to your local politician. They may have different opinions on that, but yeah, I mean, do the thing that you need to do for you. But like just doing this and targeting kids, I think that crosses a big line. I think that crosses a very important line in the sand. I generally don't spend a lot of time thinking about who people are doing, what they're doing with those wonderful body parts of theirs. I don't really spend much time on it. It's not my place. And if that would just kind of stop getting pushed down my throat, pun intended, please, like maybe just stop. Like, I don't know. I don't know that this issue needs to be. I don't understand the fascination with it. Ever since Barack Obama, roughly around the time when Barack Obama took office, this transgender fascination has been one of the paramount issues of legacy media and social media. I don't quite understand why, or do I? And it's a little disconcerting. Like there's real issues with our dollar collapsing, with a million of the most important things that we could be focusing on as a nation. And then there's this. This is here. This is, maybe the distraction to the really important stories. Health, wealth, and liberty, and pursuit of happiness, and these core tenets are what we're supposed to be chasing. And I guess some people feel really emboldened, really impassioned to share this side of their human experience with the world. Man, I just if I want to look in on your bedroom, I'll click the link. Like I'm not super interested in just having this topic force fed on me all day. I guess the second part of this here, Blake, this is a second topic, but it's pretty related here. Hey, there we go. I'll transition to this next part of the story. Transition. That was a quick one or a long one. I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
The music was really short, and then my screen froze for a while. So anyway, Blake, do you agree or disagree that it's politically motivated murder is acceptable to protect against transphobes? Agree or disagree? Because this seems to be the narrative that's coming out after Nashville and this day of rage or day of retribution. What was it called? Day of vengeance.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yeah, so we've had some, fairly high-profile people spreading this stuff, and that's after the Nashville shooting. You think they'd kind of take a step back, but no, they went for it even more. And like I said, the secretary lady from Katie Hobbs had to step down after it was revealed that she was doing that and showing a GIF or a meme with a lady with guns. And it was also the same thing with this Wyoming politician. And so they're putting it out there, but it's just throwing fuel on the fire, and it could end up being costly for them. But it's not doing anything to alleviate the situation. People are freaking out that there's like a radical element of some of this trans community who's very angry and thinks they're going after their alleged oppressors. Which happens to be white nationalist conservatives or what have you. But especially with a few of these mass shooters that happen to be a part of that trans community, we don't want to see that trend continue. And there's been some, they've had a few get-togethers where they were very, violent with the crowd. Different camera people. One was in Canada. We saw one with Alex Stein the other day. They've had other these meetings, and people want to just go have a conversation and talk, and they're not. They don't want to. They're just they go right to the violence. Like just be yourself and have just tell people, hey, we're angry. We feel like we're being discriminated against. That's cool. Then they could get sympathy. I don't think this community has ever been really, as oppressed as they're trying to make it seem. They are a minority, sure, but and
people don't have.
It's not like new. This has been around for a long time. We're both 80s guys, Brian. We listened to Boy George in the 80s and stuff. We had things like this. It wasn't that unusual. But now they're making it seem like it is, and like they're normalizing it, but then they're pushing it on children, and they're making it a part of the culture, and they're kind of dividing and conquering. And so that's where it gets problematic.
Dr. Jekyll adds here, whatever floats your boat, just don't try to port ship in my dock.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm getting the loosely veiled analogy there. Dreamer Ultra saying, I think it's because it's an issue where anytime you try and draw a line or question, you can be deemed as a phobe of some sort. Katie Cat jumps in here saying the brain doesn't mature fully in executive functions until ages of 21 to 25. So if you start trying to transition earlier, it's potentially physically and psychologically harmful. There's that. Stephanie, this movement has become militant in a lot of ways. A bit of an unexpected turn. Did you kind of always see this coming, or is this? Do you have concerns about this? Do you feel it's a 1 or 2 off or 3 off set of circumstances, or do you feel as though this is being turned into the summer of love, the year of rage, the 2020 election year, kind of let's burn it all down, militarization of putting Antifa in the streets and giving, nope, now you're going to wave a rainbow flag this time. Now you're going to wave this flag, a BLM flag. Now you're going to wave the Marxist fist flag.
Ukraine flag.
Ukraine flag. Now you're gonna pretend to be a MAGA supporter and go mess up things at that rally. I mean, this is like a permanent protestation of everything. It seems it's when everything's out in outrage, nothing is an outrage essentially. But what are your thoughts on the militarization of this movement?
I would have to disagree with this. I don't think it's acceptable. And the thing is, it really brings me, it makes me think about the topic we're going to get into here soon is, if it is true that AOC did have that burner account with Twitter, one of the comments that said like it's going against somebody that was going after AOC, but we're thinking maybe it was her or maybe somebody from her staff or her husband. But she said from the burner account telling somebody like, oh, somebody should, I hope that some unhinged transgender person takes you out, you bigoted, something like that. Right? And that is scary. It's like they want violence. I think they want the violence. I think
they're going to use them as their soldiers.
Yeah, and that is just not cool. I mean, violence should never be acceptable, and I just don't like why they're just so angry, and I just don't understand it. It's actually coming from a very confusing point of view, because it just seemed like we've always been so open to this, and people are allowed to be what they want to be. I mean, that used to not be the case like 100 years ago. I mean, we used to have slavery in this country. We no longer do. We have had a Black president. I think we have made major strides in society that Martin Luther King Jr., if he was alive today, I think he would be very proud and happy about. Of course, we're not in the perfect world, but we have came a long way. So let's talk about this AOC burner account, because I think this is a very important story, because if this is true, this is really disturbing. But yeah, Blake, please tell us more.
Sure. Let me pull one of these stories up here. I got a couple. Here you go. AOC using a secret Twitter account by the name Zaza Demon to wish death on conservative blogger Matt Walsh.
So let's pause there. I'm sorry. Like Blake, let's get into the who, what, where, when, why. Like, just I got to stop. Hold on. So Za, right?
Yeah.
Za. That's slang for the reefer, right?
That I don't know.
That what Za is?
Well,
Stephanie?
actually, so the origin, so Zaza is actually a nickname, believe it or not, for Alexandria.
Oh, wow.
So it's actually a nickname, but close in her family and friends, that it's like a short, it's kind of like with sometimes with names, it has another name connected with it, Stephanie, Stefani, and then also some odd, but there's a thing actually behind this where it means Alexandria. So she is even using her name, Alexandria, in this, fake Zaza.
And on top of that, she adds demon.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Can these people be any more obvious? Stephanie, have you ever thought about doing an AOC impression for us? Like, as a
Oh
regular
my gosh,
reoccurring-
you know what? I can. I love red lipstick. I feel like I could totally be like her because the one thing with her, AOC has bullshitted her way through politics. She has. It just shows you like, wow, if you could just talk and just wear a dress to the Met Gala that says tax the rich, you know, hey, you're in.
You can take
But
over the world.
I will do an AOC impression. I will start practicing that. All I need is some glasses and just act very dumb.
We'll have to find a way to work that in. That'd be funny. Yeah, Blake, the whole burner account in the Twitterverse, this isn't new. I mean, Kevin Durant, famously, you know, he was getting into it with fans and haters, and you know, it's very easy as somebody who manages multiple Twitter accounts myself. You know, sometimes you just log in, you scroll, and you start responding, and you hit, you know, you retweet and you like and whatever. And you're like, oh shit, this is from my sports account. No, I need this. No, I didn't want this for my personal account. No, this is for the New American Media account.
Yep.
So I mean, you're not surprised that AOC has been outed for having the burner account, but maybe a little bit more surprised by the boldness and the frank way. She was just casually discussing political violence on her enemies, right?
Oh yeah, no, it's amazing what she'd said, and then she threw away the accounts, which makes it even more obvious now that is what happened. So let me go back to the article here.
Can you, Blake? Can you find that exact tweet? And
Yeah, I've got it.
Read it out, because.
All right, we got to get you some glasses. All right, red rimmed glasses. Okay.
So the question is, they're asking, did AOC use a burner account to issue a death threat to conservative blogger Matt Walsh? And she's also attacked libs of TikTok and other conservatives. So she accidentally replied in the first person with her alternative Twitter account, Zaza Demon. And as Demon, I don't know what do you want to say. It's not Diabla. But Zaza, that's incredible that it would be Alexandria. That would make it much more obvious. But then she panicked and deleted when people caught on. So
I would too.
Yeah. So it was this guy here. He actually put up a video too. It's called "Joe Biden Hates Black People" is his Twitter handle here. So he responded to one of her tweets, reminding her that she sends money to Nazis, as in the Azov battalion in Ukraine. And all of a sudden, some random Twitter account, because that's what happens when sometimes you troll and then some just rando comes up to the rescue of the person you're attacking. And you got to figure maybe sometimes that's just an alternate account of that person, because they don't give you the attention, but they do want to retaliate in some way. And then she says, LOL, what makes you think I did anything to support Nazis? But that was her flaw. She said, I. And so then they kind of had, oh, it must have been her. So all of a sudden she she deleted that tweet. And then this account here said, oh, she's got a burner account. I responded to one of her posts, and some random account responded in the first person, and then they deleted the tweets. And then they also deleted their entire account, but not before they could go back, check the receipts, and realized that they'd been spouting off on other people, including Matt Walsh, who's a notable conservative, who said that he had come to a conclusion years ago that trans movement is the greatest evil our country faces. And then that burner account replied, you're a hateful little freak, and I can't wait until you piss off a trans person that actually is as unhinged as you claim to say they all are. And here it is. And he says she also
wild.
Yeah, that's the comment that really gets to me. And to be honest, it sounds like her.
That's how they operate. And
it's like,
they're thugs. They're street thugs.
God. It's like, this is how they feel.
They're the brown shirts. These are dangerous, unhinged people.
It's worse. Look at that. She says you can't be a bigot if you're no longer breathing smiley face. This is what she said to Matt Walsh.
And this was, what day was this? What day was this compared to that Tennessee madman's killing?
I don't know. This just says 4 days. We can assume maybe a week ago. This is probably right after, because Matt Walsh, Daily Wire, they're all out of Nashville. So I'm sure they've been, a lot of extra material on that. So this probably happened within the last week. And so, that's pretty amazing. And then she got called out again. So, and she's also called the libs of TikTok a worthless C word after a Twitter user poked at her fun for not recognizing the libs of TikTok star in person. That's right. The libs of TikTok did a selfie with AOC because she didn't know who she was. So that was pretty funny. But then she went to her.
Yes.
She was like, "Oh, well, I'm going to go get her. I'm going to get under my alt account and call you out." And she actually used the C word. So this is what AOC is doing. And here's the
and this
Joe Biden hates black people calling it. That's about a 3-minute video, so I won't play it. But we basically know, and that's good on him for doing the detective work and putting this all together. So it seems quite obvious given all of the facts along with it. Oh, here's the libs of TikTok. Is this showing? Or am I still on the
there's 2 screens up. Let me pull this down.
There we go.
Let me try it one more time just to see if there's any other.
I didn't know you had another one. I was gonna go to.
Yeah, I do. So this is the libs of TikTok confronting her in Congress, and then she got mad and fought back. I don't know if there's any other info we've already covered. Oh, I guess Marjorie Taylor Greene called her out. This UAOC, this is your burner account. That's even a disturbing name. Yeah, the demon who's calling for some trans to kill your political opposition. Just sickening. So, it's time. They're going to have to, they should be able to easily figure out where that was coming from. And she should, she had some integrity. She'd probably step down. But she should have to answer for that because that is not.
She doesn't have no integrity at all. I mean, like,
just
come
useful
on.
Idiot being used. Yeah. For sure. So that's about all of.
Well, here's the one I wanted to pull up here. This is kind of the further as if we needed more proof on this account. This is Tim Pool discussing.
Ocasio-Cortez is using burner accounts. Slow down.
I can't hear it on
the
my
idea
side
is
anymore,
AOC has fake Twitter accounts.
You tell me when to stop.
Where she controls people online and say nasty things without anyone knowing that it's really her. And the rumor is she runs these accounts. Well, I should say that's the rumor. And the evidence they claim is that someone tweeted at AOC and someone then responded with an account name for Alexandria and a weird anime avatar, speaking in the first person if they were AOC, then panicked and deleted their account. I'm not saying this is true. In fact, I want to show you this. You decide. But I want to cast some doubt. It would be really easy for someone to pretend to be AOC's burner account if that's really what happened. And I want to stress the funniest things I see online are that, for one, I don't check my mentions ever on Twitter. I have 1.5 million followers on Twitter. I don't check it. I can't. Sometimes I'll look at my tweets. I might respond to somebody like I was responding about the casino last weekend because I was tweeting all pissed off. But although it is funny when I see high-profile people be like, "We found Tim Pool's burner account, his sock puppet," and it's like some random account I don't know, and they're saying something like in defense, like this proves it's defending himself. Like, dude, I can't go through 1.5 million follower response. Like, I just don't do it. It's just sorry, that's just not reality. So I got to be honest. I don't actually think this is AOC's burner account, but I think it's actually a bit more conspiratorial to think someone created a fake account with a long history only to pretend to get caught being AOC. Occam's razor would suggest, in the absence of evidence, the solution that makes the least amount of assumptions tends to be correct, which is AOC runs fake accounts. Simple solution. Granted, I don't think money on it, to be completely honest. But here's the story. The right scoop has it. Did AOC's burner Twitter get busted? And who boy first? The tweet from Real Nico House, whose Twitter name is Joe Biden Hates Black People. He says, yo, AOC has burned accounts. I think he means burner accounts. I responded to one of her posts reminding her that she sends money to Nazis, and some random account responded to me speaking in the first person as if I attacked them. Then that same person deleted the tweets. Sort of point out how easy it would be to fake that, so take it with a grain of salt. But here's what happened. He says, you vote to send money to Nazis and fund the Israel apartheid. Then you get this Zaza Demon account saying, LOL, and what makes you think I did anything to support Nazis? You're delusional, seek help. The tweet was deleted. I don't know if I would believe that it's actually AOC, and I'll tell you why. AOC probably wouldn't respond to that at all. Okay? So if the idea is that AOC is on her account, sees that tweet, clicks it, and then responds, not realizing she's accidentally switched over to a different profile, why would the @AOC respond in that way? I don't know it. He says she blocked me from her burner. It just keeps getting better. Now the account has been deleted. Okay. Well, here's the story. And there's a bunch of stuff in there that I find interesting. One, people have pointed out that the name Zaza is actually a nickname for people whose names are Alex. So I guess it's because Alexander, so it's Zaza. I have no idea. Also just sounds a bit too weird for me. But
all right. So I assume that was enthralling.
Yeah. It's actually, so like the video, I probably should have had it send it to you guys when to start it, but he was just going into it like he's showing like this is probably not the case, this is probably not it, but he actually goes in the video that it is probably her because it's just weird how it all came about. So he then goes towards the side like it was her because they then found out that Zaza throughout because Tim Pool has like over 1 million followers, that means Alexandria. So it's kind of, somebody took off the Scooby-Doo mask.
Hey, love it. Blake, was that, I don't know.
It was not convincing.
Yeah, it was like where it started.
Yeah, Tim's really good, and I normally like his news and his perspective. I think he's got it sorted out pretty good, but his logic kind of was like, she probably wouldn't. And I was like, no, I don't think that's good enough. But he also says Alexandria, just like Stephanie said, is a word for Zaza. And maybe Tim doesn't look at his mentions, and maybe Tim wouldn't respond to somebody. But why wouldn't AOC do it, especially if she's always feeling under attack?
It sounds like her. It sounds like her.
It sounds like her. And if this person is bold enough, the Zaza Demon, if they're that bold to go sit and talk shit behind a sock puppet account, why would they delete their account after all of the work that they've built into it?
Yeah.
Only when she got totally busted and then she panicked and then burned everything down before anybody would notice. But they did notice, and that just ended up making it worse. So I'm saying 98% that it's got to be her. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense for her to pull it down.
I was kind of thinking the same thing. Like, this has got to be Blake. I'm like, this has just got to be Blake. It's just, there's no way this is
It does
Blake.
look like
You don't live in Vegas. It's so Blake. Like, I need Blake. So Stephanie's going to work on doing an AOC impression. Blake, I need you to work on doing a this guy impression. Like some of these moves.
I'd have to be on like MDMA for real. That'd be fun. All right. Somebody gives me the drugs, I will do that. But that'd be hard for me to do without being inebriated somehow.
Exactly.
Not totally my music either. It's been about 20 years since I've done anything resembling that. But no, I do admire that emotional enthusiasm for the music there.
Exactly. Well, Blake, we only have you for another moment here. I know you got to get running. Any updates in Arizona with the signature counts? Any other these stories, these long, slow burn stories? Anything else on your radar you wanted to bring us today, sir? Oh, look, we got the glasses down there. So
yeah.
Okay, so Blake, you got to work on this move.
I got some of those too. Here you go.
The guy does this move.
Yeah, I got to do the Night at the Roxbury stuff.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Good times.
Love it. Look at that.
Yeah, Stephanie's got it.
Careful, don't sprain your wrist with that giant foam finger. Sprain your other wrist.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
but any final thoughts on any other random topics? Any other final words on your way out the door, Blake?
Wendy Rogers has something going on with
good.
the signatures. Okay. She's on top of something. Maybe Stephanie's got some more info since she's right in the heart of Maricopa there. But there's still things happening. It's not a done deal yet. That election ain't over. So we'll continue. Hopefully they'll inspect, get what they're looking for. And either way, I don't care. I just want to find the truth of what it was. So,
yeah, you should be able to run a recount on every election. It should be easy to do.
All right.
MJ Sedona said,
Hey.
Yeah, she said, "Oh my gosh, I missed the show. Had a dentist appointment." Yeah, I missed my dentist appointment, so I go back in a couple weeks. I missed it.
Hey, Brian, show that video, Blake, real quick. So Jocelyn can see it.
One more time on the way out.
Yeah, one more time.
One more time on the Cleon Jarrett, Miami promoter on Instagram. MJ Sedona, Jocelyn. We just want you to see that we found Blake Walley. This is Blake front row here. Purple shirt he's got the goggles on you. Now he's raging. Tell me, is this Blake Walley or what? This is Blake just going to town, dude. Like all day, raging all day. It's only Tuesday, bro. Watch this guy in the tank top behind him, the black shirt.
He turns around. Look at that guy.
Looks at this guy. Now watch. He's like, what the? He's like, all right, yeah, all right, yeah. Like he even started getting that dude hyped. He was gonna give him grief, and he's like, no, dude, this guy's all about it. I can see he's having a good time.
He never left.
Yeah. So MJ Sedona, this is Blake Walley. We had a fact-finding mission. We discovered this. I feel like almost any screenshot, if we could just snap a picture, this will look like Blake in any single moment. Just living his best.
All right, I gotta go look that up.
Can't we watch this for another hour together, Blake? No.
Yeah, stop, because Blake has to go.
He's got to go. Follow him. He's at TV's Blake Walley on Twitter. He's got to go to a rave, everybody. He's going to a rave.
Dude, we gotta get the party started.
Can you work on this? Can you show me this move, Blake? Can you just give me one of those? Because the guy definitely did that move. That's a pretty good.
They think I'm in the Illuminati or something.
Yeah. Follow him at TV's Blake Walley on Twitter. And what is it? The Next Level News?
thenextlevelnews.com.
Excellent. Blake, thank you, sir. To be continued.
Right,
careful out there at your raves.
Bye, Blake.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Get an Uber or Lyft.
Later.
Don't drive home after your rave.
Right.
There he goes, everybody. TV's Blake Walley. Yeah, that's what we had on the docket today. Was there any other final? You're taking those glasses off. You're getting a headache. Any other final thoughts?
No, actually,
those are your glasses.
No. Actually, I bought these because I'm always on the computer and on my phone. These are actually those blue lens glasses, blue light glasses. So all the harmful light, like the blue light from your phone or from your computer, I sometimes put these on. They look like, a little dorky, but, it's good to protect your eyes. But, these are my blue light glasses. So
excellent. I'll have to maybe consider getting some of those. MJ Sedona, appreciated that. Good call, Steph. That's great.
Yeah.
Party on, Blake. And Dreamer Ultra is just going to say, ooh, Blake has moves. That was sent to me by somebody that knew Blake. It's just
oh really?
I haven't stopped laughing.
It does look like Blake. Yeah.
It looks at him. It looks like him at almost every single snapshot. If you just took a picture of that video,
it does look like him. I don't know. Maybe it was him. Maybe it was night. He didn't remember.
Yes, the peyote evening. No, I had a moment in Cancun when I tipped the bartender too much. I didn't know that if you tip them too much, they put things in your drink. And then I danced at this rave for like 10 hours and I don't dance. So that was a weird evening.
Whoa, yeah,
on
you got to
spring
be
break.
careful about that.
Yeah, I got back
Yeah,
to
that's
college
scary.
and my bartender coworker said, yeah, my roommate is a bartender down in Cancun. He just goes there for 2 months. He makes enough money that he needs for the whole year. He goes, yeah, all the bartenders down there, he says, they're small time drug dealers. If you tip them enough, they'll drop it in your drink. I go, oh, that explains it then. I must have accidentally taken something, and I loved that evening. It was just two raves.
But besides that, did you like Cancun? Did you like Mexico?
Yes. I don't know if I would go back. I don't know. I went back one time to party for like MTV Spring Break Peak Week and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then I went another time to go to Chichen Itza and go see some of the ruins. And I definitely enjoyed that side of things.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So I liked climbing that. That was before they shut it down. You can't climb it anymore. That is awful.
They actually had a video of some lady at because social media, TikTok and all that, and since you can't climb it, it's very frowned upon if you do. And some lady, she climbed to the top and she looked crazy and she looked like she was high off some drugs or something. But yeah, everybody was like booing her, like, you don't do that. Because the reason why is because there was one time a person climbed to the top of the pyramid and they accidentally fell and they died. So that's why they don't want people going on top. And they are steep, stairs. They weren't thinking about safety, thousands and thousands of years ago.
Yeah, it's definitely a different world these days.
My ancestors, to be exact, I took a DNA test and it said that I had like, I think 25 or 30% like Aztec Mayan in my blood.
I see. Yeah, I've never really wanted to do one of those. Now, if I could do like an at-home DNA test, like if I could do it at home and I didn't have to get entered into some system, then I would be, I'd be open to it, I suppose. But yeah, looking in the comments here, I've been scrolling through Ford's because Ford put this out. It must be on Facebook or something. Because she's saying, did you happen to compare Trump to Jesus this Holy Week? And in Ford Fisher's video with News to Share, the number 2 share, it definitely had a Trump supporter at the tower, outside of the courthouse rather, yesterday when the video was posted, and he said, like, yeah, he made the direct comparison to Jesus. And Ford goes, well, understand some Christians would, maybe take offense with you comparing Trump to Jesus. He goes, I'm not comparing China. He goes, I don't worship Trump. I worship Jesus Christ. But I believe that the Lord Heavenly Father above sent Donald Trump here to help us. Absolutely. No, I don't worship Donald Trump, but yes, I mean, what she's continuing with here, Jocelyn, she's adding, as far as comparing Trump to Jesus, it says that this being Holy Week, it was Palm Sunday that Jesus returned to Jerusalem. Although Trump did not return to New York on Palm Sunday, the astrological lineup of the planets is the same. Yeah, very interesting. And then you continue, the kiss of Judas, who betrayed Jesus, comes from Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen. Judas made a deal with the chief priest to arrest Jesus, and Cohen cut a deal to arrest Trump for $1 million. Allegedly. Allegedly. The event ultimately led in the gospel accounts to Jesus's crucifixion. The arrest led immediately to his trial before the what? Sanhedrin. They condemned him to death and handed him to Pontius Pilate. Trump pled not guilty, but is immediately guilty in the eyes of the legacy media. They will crucify him on Friday with untruths, but true believers will know he will be resurrected on Sunday. And you think it could happen that quick, that it might get thrown out that quick? Because you're guessing on Monday, it's a whole new ball game. And yes, Jocelyn, finally, you said it is not about the worship of Trump, it's the resurrection of America. Perfectly said. Yeah, this isn't about worshiping some other person.
Yeah.
It's just about, finding somebody to fight the good fight with you, somebody to stand up to the bullies. Once again, the thing I'm screaming at the Republicans to do is like grow a set and play offense. All you do is play defense. Your score will not increase by playing defense.
Yeah.
It's just not how it works. Thoughts on all of that? The Easter comparisons, Stephanie?
Yeah, I think and by the way, I'm the same way. I'm not saying Trump is Jesus, okay? That's totally different. But I definitely get the comparisons in the storyline because there's somebody else I heard, I forgot his name, but he was saying the same thing. And like everything about the story of Jesus, I mean, it's very identical, kind of. It's like the modern day story in some format, so that's really intriguing. And then especially the timing of this, we have Easter coming up, and this is a very holy time for in many religions throughout the world, and it's just interesting how this is all playing out. It's but yeah, that whole Jesus analogy, I definitely agree with you, Jocelyn. Like, I do feel like there's some biblical connection. I don't know. I feel it. It's so I understand where you're coming from, and it's really interesting.
Yeah, and my dad, I was raised Christian. I've been to many different churches. I don't even know what denomination I would pick at this point. There have been so many, and a lot of them get a lot of things right. I don't know. I don't know if any of them hit over 70% for me, but there's some good stuff to take away, and then there's just some cringy, eye rolly. Oh my God, did he really just say that kind of stuff? You're gonna find that anywhere. But my dad used to say, like the historical record for Jesus Christ being a literal human being archived in all of the writings, like he's not a fictional character like some people want to say. That was one of his main thoughts, and one of his others was just look at the Bible. It's like, change the names of these people, the stories are the same. The stories are the same, of jealousy and greed and anger and betrayal and making bad decisions that lead to even worse decisions that lead to a bad decision to cover up your first worst decision that makes it even worse. And it's like, the Bible's just a grouping of stories that you're supposed to learn from, what to do and what not to do. Don't be like this guy, do be like that guy. Don't be like this lady, be like this lady. And if you just change the names in the story, everything recycles.
It does. Yeah.
I put in our the Agree to Disagree show group on Telegram another clone video. I don't know if you saw that one.
Yeah,
it's just a weird, wacky story I keep getting back to. Not that I'm like I'm not working for a cloning company. I don't get a royalty or a gratuity out of it, and I'm not even saying I fully buy into it. But it's like some of these people. The assertion in this video is almost like Hollywood clones, and you see the side by side, and you're like, oh my God, they look identical. If you just put one in a guy's costume and one in a girl's costume. I mean, Miley Cyrus and Justin Bieber in the right pictures, they look identical. But I'm just saying with the Bible as well, you just update the story. You just change the contemporary surroundings, but the core is the same. With the whole cloning thing is like, you keep the concept and you just package it different. You just package it slightly different. This way or that way. Totally weird, totally off topic, but that's what overtime is about. Every time Blake leaves, we get weird. And we talk about whatever comes through here in the comments section, and whatever comes to our mind on our way out the door. What was this final thought from you, Jocelyn? Jesus can be compared to Joseph of the Old Testament and Horus of Egyptian mythology. Yeah, that Zeitgeist movie was very interesting. It had a lot of. Have you ever seen that one?
Yes,
Stephanie, Zeitgeist.
Yes.
And a lot of that's been debunked, but there's interesting stuff to take away from it.
Yeah.
What if we're repeating our story? What if the same thing kind of keeps happening until we get it? And each generation has their own incarnation of this stuff. I don't know. I didn't put this video game together. I just woke up in the middle of it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it makes you more think, like, are we really in a simulation? The one thing that I always think about time is I always go back to Socrates and Plato. I'm a huge fans of them, and the things they say is so relevant today. And so sometimes I wonder if like time is like an onion has many layers. So let's say you have an onion and has many layers, right? And you put a toothpick in the onion, and you got 2023 right here, and you go in the toothpick, and then you got the time when Socrates was alive and writing these things down, and it's like relevant. Like, I don't know, it's maybe we're just supposed to keep coming back here and back here and back here until we get it right. It's not much has changed in human philosophy. We're all human. We all want to love. We all die. But what's changing around us is AI technology. That's the only thing.
Yeah, and artificial intelligence has been paused. What was that in Italy? We covered that last week.
Yes, yeah.
Elon Musk and many
Blocking
others.
it,
I think
yeah.
Tim Cook of Apple. They're all just saying we need to stop this.
Did you hear that one story? So this guy in London, that real quick, because I know we got to go. This one guy in London, he was asking a chatbot, how can he solve climate change? And the AI said, if you want to solve climate change, go kill yourself, go shoot yourself. And he did kill himself because
no,
he did, because that's what the AI said. That
where's this story?
I could send it to you. It's
yeah,
and this was in England, and the only reason he did it because the AI said you are the problem of climate change. And you got somebody who's not thinking right, and they're asking these questions, and the AI is telling you, hey, go kill yourself. And this guy did. And this was in England. This just happened, I think, within the week. It's quite recent.
I did a quick search. I'm not seeing it. That's an interesting story. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I've heard other people say that, they used to be concerned about artificial intelligence, but now they're realizing that artificial intelligence can't be smart. It's really just going to regurgitate what the programmers put into it, mm-hmm. which oftentimes is dumb stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of have a hunch if the major innovators are recommending a pause, maybe they're ahead of the curve a little bit, and they're trying to press mm-hmm. pause on something that, it is Pandora's box in some ways. Once you open it up, how are you ever gonna? It's like unscrambling eggs. You can't unscramble eggs. Once it's done, it's mm-hmm. done. Yeah, I don't know what to make of that, but I would be curious to see that story for sure, because there's a lot of people.
Yeah, I just sent the link if you want to see. And also, this guy was a father, so he was there talking to this AI for weeks, talking about climate change, trying to find a real solution, and said, kill yourself because of your climate.
Oh, he found the final solution of apparently, huh? That's what these climate crazies are all about. I mean, it's mm-hmm. genocidal. Day April 4th. I mean, that's today. Father kills himself after talking to AI chatbot for 6 weeks about his climate change fears. Well, number one, you got a married father who's talking to an AI chatbot for 6 weeks. Anytime these things happen, you got to consider the mental health of the people involved.
Yeah, that's not normal. That's not.
No.
I mean, if I was in a relationship with somebody and they're talking to, I would be like, okay, we need to go to the park. There's something wrong with you. Just stop talking to this AI. Stop it.
Yeah. So he reportedly found comfort in talking to the AI chatbot named Eliza. So here, let's see. A Belgian married father died by suicide after talking to an AI chatbot about his global warming fears. The man, who was in his 30s, reportedly found comfort in talking to the AI chatbot Eliza about his worries for the world. He had used the bot for some years, but 6 weeks before his death, started engaging with the bot more frequently. The chatbot software was created by U.S. Silicon Valley startup, is empowered by GPT-J technology, an open source alternative to OpenAI's ChatGPT. Without these conversations with the chatbot, my husband here, and she's blaming the chatbot mm-hmm. instead of the husband.
And okay. I bet, and with Elon Musk and with Wozniak, with this petition of halting AI, I'm completely for that. I think there's going to be a lot of litigation, because let's say if you're a con person and you have that, they're going to sue, Elon Musk, like, you're responsible for my husband's death.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And that's saying the death alerted authorities who raised concern for a serious precedent that must be what? Why is it's covering a line right there? I can't read it. Taken very seriously. There you go. So yeah, it's disturbing. Started 2 years ago talking about it, but you see, like, he's talking to Eliza, who answers his questions, becomes his confidant. I mean, did he fall in love with a robot? She was like a drug he used to withdraw in the morning and at night, and he couldn't live without his widowed Belgian newspaper. There you go, right there. Hold on. This should be the lead.
There you go. Yep.
Eliza answered all his questions. She became his confidant. See, I like rewriting the news. I'm good at rewriting the news and figuring out what they're not telling you.
Yeah, there
she
you
she
go.
was like a drug he used to withdraw in the morning and at
Mhm.
night, and that he couldn't live without. So
Mental illness was already an
mental
unhappy
illness.
person, and that was just, you know, the one thing that just, you know, they were already thinking about it. So that, yeah, and I agree with Jocelyn. She says it's safer to chat with the Ouija board than chat GPT. Yeah, because the chat GPT could do these complex sentences and sound like a person. A Ouija board is saying yes or no, and you know, just saying one or two words. Chat GPT could write essays.
Yeah, instantly. It's like instantly writing essays. Instantly.
Yeah.
I mean, how could you even know if you were a teacher, if you were getting actual information?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know if it's good or bad. Jocelyn thinks it's evil. She says, ever hear of the car that was haunted? Stephen King's Christine was based on the true story. Well, what about Michael Hastings? Michael Hastings, the Rolling Stone reporter that was reporting on things that they didn't like that he was reporting on. And then his car was driven 120 miles an hour directly into a palm tree right down the road from me in Los Angeles. Can you take over the cars? I mean, yeah, right. If it can auto drive, it can auto kill.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, MJ Sedona coming in hot. She says it's safer, in her opinion, to chat with the Ouija board than to chat with Chat GPT. Wow. That's
a good point.
What do you think? Do you think it's safer to chat with a Chat GPT or a Ouija board?
Well, you know, I don't think it's safe with, well, the thing is, Chat GPT, you could find some cool information. Ouija board, I mean, it also begins with your beliefs. Do you believe in that whole different world? So those are two different cans of worms right there, but it's definitely an intriguing thought to think about.
Absolutely. And her final question here, we should ask the AI bots, statement rather, ask the AI bots about the fallen angel agenda. Yeah, I get these things talking, and you wonder who programmed them. You wonder what they're,
Yeah.
you know, and when they become sentient, when they just say what they feel like saying versus what they've been programmed to say. Good luck, humanity. We're in the middle of it. I speak about it as though I'm not a participant, but I don't know how to deal with this stuff. I don't know how any of us can. I think we should have and I put it on the New American Media website a long time ago, TNAM 1984 watch. And I just felt, 12 years ago when we started this, that we need to really have we need a think tank. We need some of the brightest minds working to make sure that the advancements in technology can maintain, the human's ability to freedom, liberty, privacy, that, some of these things are just getting slammed through so that they can be first to market. They can become as addictive as possible, but they're not thinking of long-term ramifications. And I've always wanted a 1984 watch to just kind of, just really have someone with a finger on the pulse of this stuff and how it's going to impact our country and humanity in general. But yeah, I mean, the fallen angel agenda. I mean, what's a more common tale from the history? Whoop, how'd that one get there? From the history, the beginning of time, than angels falling. People, there's nothing the media likes to do more than destroy a famous person. They love to create a nobody into a famous person, but they love destroying a famous person even more. It's like we haven't gotten too far away from the Salem witch trials after all. So, it's once again, meet your old story, same as your new story. Just package it different times, different settings, different circumstances. It's the same people running the same stories, just like in the Bible. So, yes. All right. Cool. Well, I think that's about all I got. Stephanie, did you have any other final thoughts on today?
No, it's I think we're all good to go. Time to wrap it up.
Excellent. Then we'll take you out on an MJ Sedona quote, this final one here. Without self-knowledge, without understanding the working and functions of this machine, man cannot be free. He cannot govern himself, and he will always remain a slave. G.I. Joe. No, G.I. Gurdjieff. I don't know G.I. Gurdjieff, but that's an interesting quote to consider. Man must know himself. and we must govern ourselves and avoid becoming slaves. Okay, so Stephanie, you are on Twitter at Stephanie with 5 E's and a J, not a 7. I don't know. I just invert this. I invert the J into the 7. I don't know. Whatever. The day after J6. Yeah. So Stephanie with 5 E's and a J on Twitter. Follow her. And yeah, we shall talk with you soon. We'll see how the rest of this Trump stuff plays out. I mean, I guess what? We're tuning in tonight. You said he's going to be giving an address at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, I mean, if that information is correct, it said that after he's done with all his court stuff, he's going to leave, fly to Florida, and then Trump was going to do a speech on what happened today at Mar-a-Lago. So we'll see what happens. I mean, he's been indicted on 34 accounts. Personally, I don't know how you're going to get out of 34 accounts. That's quite a bit and quite scary. So we'll see. The news is very hot right now.
It would be if you're a praying person, it might be a good time to pray for President Trump. I'll just put that out there on the way out the door. You're rocking your Phoenix Suns
Yeah.
right there. There you go. Nice. Yep, you're number 1. We'll see. Maybe the Cavs will play the Suns in the NBA Finals this year. We can hope.
Yeah, that would be a fun game.
Yes,
pretty cool.
I'm all about it. I'm here for that. I would really eagerly anticipating my first Cleveland Cavaliers championship without LeBron James. Very excited. So follow Stephanie on Twitter. Make sure you follow us. We're at American_media_. On Facebook, we have a group called The Agree to Disagree Show. It's a private group, so find it and join it. And you can find us thenewamericanmedia.com, youtube.com/thenewamericanmedia, patreon.com/thenewamericanmedia, all the things, Rumble, The New American Media, Truth Social, The New American Media. Blake wants me to sign up for like Steam It and DTube and some other thing and something else. And I don't know. But since Facebook and YouTube have been so hostile to new media, got to be in all those places, right? Got to be in all the places. And we have the new Spotify podcast. We've avoided the podcast.
Nice.
We're there. So sign up, get all of our content, and we'll be doing more of this as the days continue. I believe we are planning on seeing you on Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern time again. Hopefully you can all join us. And until next time, for Blake Walley, I'm Brian Engelman, and for
Stephanie Jackson.
Signing out.
Bye. Bye, everybody.
Take care.
Later.